Investors in India now in an exclusive conversation with our colleague Prashant Nair. He talks about the China picture and on the possibility of flows diverting from China to India. Listen in.
I think directionally the policies is actually heading the right way in terms of less regulation, just which has been a big agenda on the plate of this government. So we feel good in terms of where the policies are. There's a big thrust on infrastructure. I mean, you just saw recently announcements from Prime Minister, which is actually extremely bullish on focus on energy, because I think infra has been one area which, if you look at long-term, one of the biggest problems in India has been not enough, capital investment on the infra side, and this government has been very rightly focused on that, which is a huge multiplier effect. So, which is why I feel that we are actually pretty much aligned in terms of where the policy agenda is, the players who are able to execute and deliver, and where the earnings growth is going to be. Because we did see this similar movie in the second half of 90s and early 2000s in China and a few other places, where that has sort of huge impact, whether it's ports, airports, roads, just broad infrastructure, data centers, you name it, right? So I think that's a very exciting space, and the policy thrust is quite bullish.
Rajiv, as an investor, as you said, you like things where there is a big sort of disparity between the reality and the perception of it. Do you think China fits the bill, or their bad is just bad? Are you looking at it as a interesting investment opportunity?
China is confusing because the stock prices have come off quite a bit. However, the lot of policy issues, the political aspects have not gone away. So we have not increased our China exposure. We are extremely underweight China. In fact, we only have 4 or 5% China. I mean, that should give you some context. That's in EM. We have no exposure in the global or the international book as such in China. And 4 or 5 years ago, we used to have a lot. But we do feel that there's a geopolitical aspect which is playing an important role in terms of how people will perceive China. So, for example, if Trump wins, I think there's a high chance of escalation geopolitically between U.S. and China, and that could impact foreign investment into China and or their reluctance to invest further. So I think there are things on the horizon which kind of give us a little bit of pause. And Trump has already announced some of these things, that if he wins, he's going to increase tariffs and so on and so forth. So I think the saber rattling will increase, which is a little bit of a problem.
Rajiv, in terms of China, there's this entire China plus one, not just in terms of FDI, etc., but in terms of financial flows, portfolio flows. And many have said that, India will be this big beneficiary of foreign flows away from China. Is that already underway, or is that yet to happen? Your view?
There hasn't really been much inflows at all. If you look at cumulative inflows in the last 2.5, 3 years, they've been one of the biggest outflows from India. So I don't feel that has happened yet. But if the geopolitical situation continues to move in the direction where I believe it's moving, it's just getting worse. I think the flows have yet to come to India. We have not seen that yet. If you look at vast majority of global portfolios, the India exposure is tiny. And it's typically limited to maybe one private sector bank, one IT services, and that's about it, right? And all that will change, because the earnings growth, if it comes through, and it has been coming through, as I said, India is the best earnings growth story outside of US in the last 5 years. It's not my opinion, it's a fact. If you look at MSCI India versus all the MSCIs and compare that to other markets. So I think the flows story has not been positive for India. In my opinion, it will become positive as time passes.
All right, you can catch snippets of this conversation all through the day, and the full show at 5:30 p.m. this evening only on CNBC TV 18. Let's take a quick break on that note.